So obviously, as you probably remember, the Americans supported democracy in Iraq after the fall of Saddam Hussein. So just to recap, the only reason the Americans and NATO and everybody else started on Iraq and did the regime change there, it was simply a war for the benefit of Israel. Israel felt threatened by Saddam Hussein's leadership in Iraq. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, he'd been calling for regime change in Iraq for many, many decades. So, the whole reason Iraq had its war and its invasion and Saddam Hussein toppled was for the benefit of Israel. So, Israel felt a lot safer with Iraq destabilised, destroyed, more than 1 million people killed, the government toppled, and Saddam Hussein hanged. Israel felt a lot more safer with the Iraqi military, which was one of the strongest militaries and largest militaries in the world, by the way, before the NATO invasion, destroyed. So it's a big shame what happened to Iraq. So obviously, after the death of Saddam Hussein, after the government were toppled, after Iraq were destroyed and invaded and occupied, after the occupation of Iraq, obviously the insurgencies, terrorism, instability, suicide bombs, all the rest of it, the imposition of democracy, because to be fair, there was a bit of democracy. The majority of Iraq at that time, and I think still now, was or is Shia Muslim. So they all just voted for an in-majority Shia Muslim government. And with that happening, with a Shia Muslim government, that meant the Shia theocratical, or theocratic, however you say it, regime, Islamic Republic of Iran, immediately gained influence in Iraq. So because Iraq became a Shia Muslim government after Saddam Hussein, they just decided to basically indirectly have an alliance with Iran. And with that happening, that meant that jihadists from all over the world, especially from Saudi Arabia, especially from Kuwait, especially from Bahrain, especially from loads of different crazy places, all flooded to Iraq and decided to set up terrorist groups. So the majority of the Islamic State and Al Qaeda fighters were obviously foreign, and the majority of them were Saudi Arabian, as it happens. So Zarqawi, I can't remember how you pronounce his name. Zarqawi, is it? Al Zarqawi? The big Al Qaeda in Iraq leader. His army of head cutting, suicide bombing jihadists were mostly not even Iraqi. They came to Iraq to fight the Shia Muslims, to fight the American occupation, to fight all the different militias who didn't want Iraq to become some kind of Al Qaeda or Islamic State or Sunni extremist Wahhabi caliphate. So there was a big terrorism, sectarian war. There was basically a lot of Mossad Israeli agents stirring up trouble between the Sunnis and the Shias, between the Saudi Arabians and the Iranians. So Iraq became like a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran. It was all